welcome to
Recording in progress.
today's workshop, today's webinar, that is internal Revit component, parametric and dynamic furnitures. So, my name is Prakriti Goel, and I'm working in Capricorn as senior BIM specialist architecture. So, I'll be hosting today's webinar. Now, first, for today's agenda, like we will be discussing on the design brief. Like first, I'll discuss about our company, and then from Ethos, Kanchan will be giving you the Design Advance 2024 brief, and then we'll move on with the parametric furnitures and dynamic furnitures in Revit. Right. So now, if I talk about Arkans in introduction, so Arkans Private Limited is the India's leading design and construction technology solution provider, like provider for architecture, engineering, construction, and manufacturing industry. Basically, vision is to deploy data-driven solutions across the construction and manufacturing sectors worldwide to improve sustainable project design, construction, and manufacturing from concept to operations. So we are since 1987, 20,000 plus Indian customers, and to advance the way we work through a partner and to build smarter strategy, we are delivering a portfolio of solutions to help customer design, build, and solve for tomorrow's challenge. So we, like in the whole world, we are divided into three parts: Americas, EMEA, and APAC. Now, as an unmatched global service platform, we are approx like 50 plus offices located in 18 plus countries and supporting 32 languages, right? And now I'll call upon Kanchan from Ethos Group, who will be giving you the Design Advance 2024 brief. Kanchan, over to you.
Thanks, Prakriti.
Thank you.
I'll just share my screen. Hello, everyone. I hope everyone can see my screen. And we'll do a short briefing of Design Advance 2024 theme and break down the brief a little bit for your understanding. So, as you may know, the theme this year is Architecture of Assembly, Industrialized Construction for High-Rise Buildings, where the participants will be designing high-rise residential buildings through the use of industrialized prefabricated components, which you have been learning through these webinars, and today you'll learn to prefabricate furniture. So, yeah, so we'll first break down this theme. Then we'll discuss your design task, the guidelines for participation, and a few frequently asked questions that we received. So the theme is architecture of assembly. And what it means is you are assembling basically some components at the site which have been manufactured elsewhere. Elsewhere is the factories where the prefabricated components are being manufactured in bulk. And thereafter, on the site, they are transported to the site and they are assembled there into the building. So the aim of doing this is to revolutionize the construction process of multi-storied buildings. So what used to take long time of months and years, we are trying to compact it and make the construction process basically more seamless, more efficient, and we are also trying to deal with the challenges like unorganized labor or workmanship and quality issues and site management and the pollution caused by wastage of materials, right? So residential high rises or apartment complexes, you all might have seen them. So you would have also observed that they have certain repeating elements like, of course, the units are repeating and they are stacked above each other, right? And the staircases, railings, and facade, and balcony and toilets, these are like multiples of these elements are present in an apartment building. Due to the scale of the project of an apartment complex and the limitations of conventional construction process, these projects will usually take a long time to be completed and to be occupied by residents. So how is it that we can save time and effort and expenses and our resources while designing these buildings. So that is where the industrialized construction or the prefabrication of components comes in. How do we do that? So even in prefabricated construction, the foundation will be laid using conventional methods of construction, but thereafter the superstructure components like walls, floors, doors, windows, furniture, balconies, etc., they can be produced in a factory and thereafter assembled on the site. So how it happens is you will standardize the elements and design them on BIM software like Revit, etc. Then these elements will be manufactured or produced in a factory in the required numbers for your project. All these prefabricated elements will be transported to the site, and on the site they will be assembled into your building. What can be prefabricated? There is a lot of scope for prefabrication in a high-rise building. So you can prefabricate the fire stairs, the elevators, the plumbing, the cooling, the ventilation, etc. The building systems, that is. Then complex elements like maybe facade, which you might have learned about in the previous webinar. Then other complex elements like balcony railings, etc. They can be prefabricated, and building components like the very basic components like walls or floor panels, doors and windows, entire toilets and kitchenettes and balconies, they can also be prefabricated. Here is the first case study that you can look forward to, and you can also look this building up yourself. This is called 10 Degrees and it's in London, UK, designed by HTA Design. And at a first glance itself, you can see the facade, how interestingly it has been made, and how these repeating elements appear, like these small balconies and these pyramidal sort of, or like octahedral elements are there. So this is a kind of a diagram that shows you how these will be assembled on site. These are the different components that would have been prefabricated and manufactured in a factory. And this is the layout of all these parts or modules or units that have been assembled together, right? So what benefits did prefabrication do for this building? So from the concept sketch to the handover, it only took about a 39-month timeline, which is roughly a little over 3 years. Otherwise, how given how tall this building is, it would have taken much more. The carbon emission was reduced by 67%, which is a very significant reduction, and quality control also improved. And how did they do it? They extensively used virtual reality and 3D printing enabled prototyping, so they could like foresee the problems that may occur and then replicated it at the actual 1:1 level, right? And the prefabricated components, they were manufactured off-site and then assembled at the site. Second case study that you can look up yourself is called the De Quickeridge Apartments. It's in Utrecht, Netherlands. And again, a very interesting facade, and you can see there are different types of different sizes of buildings. So prefabrication or pre-manufactured elements doesn't mean you have to just stick to boxes. You can play around with shapes and sizes of the buildings, right? So in this particular case study, the kitchens, bathrooms, stairs, and facade, they were prefabricated and placed on site. It's a very highly standardized and rationalized building. So coming to the design task, you have to design a high-rise residential building or building complex using industrialized construction with prefabricated building components. So what you'll have to do in order to design like this is you have to understand industrialized construction and prefabrication of building components to create sustainable, inclusive, and accessible spaces. And you have to also explore the suitable construction materials and prefabricated components, right? Uh, in this way, you'll be able to demonstrate how to transition from unorganized to organized construction practices, which will address the problems of quality, the workers' protection, and the sustainability of your design. So, what you'll do is basically you'll maximize the use of industrialized elements in your design, and you'll standardize all the elements for the ease of prefabrication, right? Here are the guidelines. You have to choose an urban site, which would be in a tier 1 or tier 2 city, if you're familiar with the classification. Um, the site area should be between 5 to 12 acres, and a minimum FAR that we are looking to achieve is 3, because in urban areas there is always a dearth or a scarcity of land. So we need to make most efficient use of it, right? Green cover, think about giving at least 50% to a green cover. Follow the local bylaws. In case the local bylaws are not applicable or not available to you, then use the National Building Code as your guidelines. At least 50% of your design should be constructed using prefabricated building components, and you have to show them in 1 to 2 sheets in your design, right? So, what will you highlight there is prefabricated components and why you chose them, and how did it impact your design. Here are the design considerations, how well you've integrated industrialized construction, how well done your or in depth your research is into industrialized construction, how sustainable your design is, of course, the well being of the residents or the occupants of your building, and how creative you've been with the tools you've been provided. Here are the important dates. So make sure you are registering for the competition before October 7th, and the submissions will close on October 17th. So please do keep these dates in mind. The competition is open to all undergraduate and postgraduate students of architecture, planning, civil engineering, and design globally. And those graduating in 2024 from these courses, they can also participate, and a maximum of 3 members per team are allowed, right? So, a few frequently asked questions. Is there any registration fee for the competition and workshops? No, there is absolutely no fee. The registration for the competition as well as the workshops, they are both completely free. You don't have to pay anything. So that's a very good part of this competition. Can postgraduate students take part in the competition? Of course they can. UG and PG students of architecture, design, civil engineering, and planning and any allied fields can participate. Can the team members be from different colleges? Yes, that is also allowed to do in a team. Just make sure that there is at least one architecture student in your team. In absence of local bylaws, which standards should we use? So, like informed before, National Building Code should be followed in case you can't access or there are no locally applicable bylaws available. Can we choose a site on your own? Of course, you're allowed to choose your own site, and just that it should be in a urban area, in a tier 2 or tier 1 city, and the area should be between 5 to 12 acres. Can we define our area programs? Yes, you can choose the functions and the distribution of space that you allot to each function as per your site requirements and as per your research, like what the site demands. Coming to the end, you can register on for the competition at www.designaddvance.in, or you can simply scan this QR code right now and visit the website. Thereafter, you can head to the registration immediately and get on with your designs. Thank you so much.
Kanchan, for briefing the Design Advance 2024. Now, let's start with the session. So, now welcome you all to today's webinar, that is internal Revit component, parametric design and dynamic furniture. So, if I talk about basic, like why we are going for the Revit. So, because we are developing the BIM model now, BIM workflows, right? So to help our uh, like workflows, BIM workflows. So Revit is actually helping us in that case. Right. So yeah. Now if I talk about the once you install Revit, you will get some basic components. So components in the sense here, like some of the families, right? So if I talk about components, so if I talk about in terms of like AutoCAD, you have blocks, right? So if I talk about in Revit, we call them as families, right? So some families are by default there when you install Revit, and those families are actually important to develop your BIM models. Now, if I talk about families. So, what are families? Again, some group of elements combined together with certain properties. Now, properties as in your, like if you're developing furniture family, let's suppose. So, your height, the furniture family, the height of that, the like length, width. So, whatever you are designing, whatever families you are designing, whatever furniture you are designing, you are providing certain sizes, like certain properties, so that you can anytime change its properties. Just like we have a concept in AutoCAD, we have a concept of dynamic blocks. Now, if I talk about in Revit, so these families are very much important in terms of developing your BIM model. By default, you will get in a library, in content library in Revit, but again, those are of like foreign standards. So you according to you, okay, according to your project, you are developing it as per your requirements, as per the standards. You are developing your own furniture families, right? Now if I talk about the family typology, what are different type of families there in Revit. So first of all, we have loadable families. Now, as I told you, the content library that you'll get from Revit, you can load them just like to develop your BIM model, you are loading certain windows, certain doors uh, in your project, right? With the with the loadable family, like with the content library, and you are developing your own content library so that you will have a standardized standardized components, standardized furniture families, and then you can load it into your project to develop that, right? Now if I talk about a second type of Revit family, that is system family, which is developed in the Revit project itself, Revit system as well. We call them as like walls, floors, ceilings, staircase. Right? These are your those type of families which are which will be developed in the Revit system, that is Revit project. And if you have let's say uh, a different if you have, let's say, a unique feature, unique design. So let's say if I talk about an example of conference room. So conference room, like when I talk about conference table, so ready-made conference tables are actually you will get from the market, right? According to the standards. But if you have the conference room, if you have that, uh, if you have a column in between that conference room, so you have to design the conference table according to that space. So that is your unique feature for that space only, right? So whatever families which is like used for only one specific project or one specific space, and it is cannot be shared, like it cannot it will not be used for any other spaces, that is called in place families, where you provide the families, where you create the families in the project itself as a unique feature, right? So this is the example, like as I told you, like if you are designing any kind of in place families, design any kind of furniture which will used for only one specific space, that is called in place families. Now, if I talk about the hierarchy, like how the families actually work. So, as we know that we are developing furnitures, it can be wall hung furnitures, let's say your shelves, bookshelves, right? It can be your maybe some. Like if I talk about any other families, let's say windows, so those are actually placed on walls only. Your lighting fixtures, right? So according to the placement of your furniture, the hierarchy of families in Revit is actually different. So one is like, if I talk about hierarchy in such a way, like how these families are divided, right? So first of all, it is divided into disciplines. Okay, so if I talk about architects, like architectural discipline, structural discipline, MEP discipline. So in that discipline, you will get different categories. So if I talk about an example of architectural discipline, you will get doors and windows, floor, like floors, ceilings, right? As well as like if I talk about family, now family can be various things. Like if I talk about door, so flush door, so revolving door, right? Your double panel door, right? Now I like, right? So and then type can be, let's say if I talk about flush door can be of like 1 meter by 2.1 meter height, your 900 by 2100 height. So it's like type means what? Type means your, like let's say if a family, like a family, let's have a like generic explanation. So family is like a full collection of elements, right? So family, let's say if I talk about doors, okay, so one is your flush door, right? Now if I talk about type, so same flush door can be different in terms of sizes, in terms of material, etc. So those can be considered as a one type, not a family. Family can be a flush door, double panel door, glass door, revolving door. So the change in the shape, change in the like full hierarchy, change in the shape, change in the construction technology, and change in the like methodology, right? So that is called family. But if you are changing only the sizes, if you are changing only the material, that is called type, right? Now, if I talk about an example, so let's say if you are developing furniture families, so we are going for the parametric furnitures. Now, parametric furnitures in what sense? Like where you are providing sizes, you are providing like a flexible family, a flexible component which is actually helping you to change the sizes according to the requirement. So let's say if I take an example of a sofa, like you can see. So the sofa size actually, like this sofa has been provided as a parametric family. So you can see it can be converted to single seater, two seater, and three seater. Same sofa family can be converted into various types, like four seaters, like three seaters, two seaters, one seater. Same family. Same goes for your another example, that is stool. So you are providing a like certain shapes, like you are providing certain parameters so that its height, its radius will also increase. But again, it is the same family, but but the thing is, you are actually changing its sizes. That's it. Its property. You're changing its property, right? Now, there are various type of families. So again, if I talk about like this actually depends upon your templates. So if I talk about lighting fixtures can be placed on ceilings, can be placed on floors, can be placed on walls. So according to those families, the template in Revit actually will be chosen. So the concept in Revit called host, like is called host. Host means like any element which needs a supporting element to be placed on. So if I talk about doors and windows, so doors and windows are hosted on walls. Your lighting fixtures can be hosted on your ceiling. If there's a ceiling, then you'll be able to provide pendant lights, right? If that ceiling will be deleted, so the light will also be deleted. So again, the host means like a supporting element of the families, right? Now to develop these to develop these families, one thing is important is your guidelines, like the starting point, like from where your family should start, from where the family should start, right? So first, when once you open any template, so if I open Revit, so once you open any template you have, so if I go for new, let's say if I go for English, like family template, English metric, so you'll see over here in Revit, whatever the nature of families we have discussed, like host based or like level based, or maybe like simply you have annotative families like profile families. So all the families has its own template, and you will be using these templates to develop your furniture families. So if you see over here, we have a template for furniture, specific for furniture, which consists of properties, some by default properties for furnitures, right? So when you create furniture families, like when you create any family, when you create any family, you have to specify their category. So category means, like category is important. Like whenever you create any family, your quantification is very much important. So in which category your furniture, like your study table, will be placed. So as per that category, you can actually quantify in your schedules, right? So category is very much important thing when choosing your correct, like when creating your families, choosing a correct category is very much important, right? So you can see this is the whole interface for 3D family, that is furniture family if you want to provide furnitures. So over here you can see we have this form panel which will be used for developing your families. And you have these two reference planes which is actually helping you to create both front and back elevation and left and right elevations of the furniture. So this is actually the, like the center point is the insertion point, the placement point of the family, right? So this is the whole like interface. Now if I talk about basic workflow, so we'll discuss it in Revit as well, like what will be the preferable workflow. So there is no right or wrong workflow for family creating, but if I talk about will be the preferable, like if I say a good, like to create a good family, what will be the preferable workflow we can follow. So, first of all, to plan out a family, like if you are going for the furniture family, you have to choose the correct category so that in future you can quantify them easily. And then, if I talk about, let's say, uh, wall hung shelves, right? Wall hung shelves. So, I need like the wall hosted family. So, as per that, I'll choose template, right? Once you choose the template, you have to save that, and then after that you will be creating the guidelines, like just like you are designing a family, and for that you need several guidelines. So in that case you will be using reference planes as well as dimensions, and then you will be modifying, you will be providing properties to it, that is called parameters, like the sizes, so that you can change their sizes as per your need, as per your requirements. After that you will be placing that if you are going for the working drawings, so how your furniture family will look in plans, sections, elevations. So you will be providing that full, like you will be developing that whole uh, maybe study table, maybe workstation, office workstation, and then you're checking its feasibility each and every time, so that whenever you create any furniture, it will work once you load it into the project, right? So this is the like most common, like most preferable workflow for family creation and like for creating a good family basically. Now if I talk about an example, basic example, so we have created this, like for you guys we have created the workstation family. So in this workstation family, so you can see So this is the workstation family. If I load this into the project, you will understand that over here we have multiple parameters which actually enables you to like change its sizes and like change its sizes and material. So let me load it into the project. Okay, so if you guys have any questions you want to ask, so you can use Q&A chat box, and at the end of the webinar, we'll have a Q&A session, and then we'll ask, like, we'll reply to those questions. Okay, so let me load that family into the project. So you can see over here, this is the workstation that has been loaded into the project. If I want to change its sizes and all, so I need to go for over here in the property palette. So table depth, if I change it to maybe like 500, so you can see it is working. So for second, like if I have the workstation in the middle, so we need like one partition in between and two workstation desks on either side of the partition, right? That is why I need to change the sizes of over here. Let's say if I change the like total length like this, and if I want to if this like a workstation is placed beyond like uh, along with the wall, so if you have any wall over here, now, first, if I want to, like, if it's along the wall, so I don't need the second desk. So I can anytime, like, provide that over here. Like, if I don't want the second partition, so you can see over here, right? Right? So it's like that. So again, like you can actually provide multiple type of workstations. Like if I talk about with table with desk, right? So how we have created this. So I've created a video for you guys because this is a long process. Like it can be of 40 minutes. Like it can be of uh this depends upon your workflow. So it can take only like 5 minutes or it can take only 10 minutes. This depends upon your workflow as well as the practice, right? So for that, I have created a like like over here. the video for you guys. So how we have started it. So first of all, we have started with the like specific template, right? And if we choose the template, so again, if I talk about the furniture template, or maybe if you are talking about any door template, right? So you have to specify the template. So we have taken the like uh family template so that we can use this as a like family file. So that RFT is the file format for the family template, right? After this, we have actually, right, so we have actually taken the template. Now, yeah, right. So again, the template is actually very much important in your case, because this will help you to identify the category. So once you choose the template, right? So metric furniture template will be used, and according to that, we will be designing the furniture. So you have to check whether you are developing the like whether you are starting with the plan view, sections, or elevations. So according to that, you will be adding the reference planes. So by default, two reference planes are already there, which will help you to design your front elevations, back elevations, left elevations, and right elevations. So you can add more reference planes, and then you can provide the sizes. So if you are providing width, right? If you are providing the width of the like workstations, depth of the workstation. So it's better to develop the reference planes and then go for your like dimensions. Now, why we are talking about that? So that once you change the dimensions, once you change the parameters, your like like your geometry, your form, your workstation will also move according to the reference planes. So first, it's important to lock your reference planes, right? So if you provide any dimensions, you have to provide the you have to select the dimensions. Like if you change it, your reference plane should move. So you can actually use them to create a family parameter, right? And it's up to you that if you want those family parameters to be type. So type, and in the sense, like if I want to create uh like workstation type 1 meter by 600 size, or like just like we have in AutoCAD dynamic blocks, we can actually change them sizes according to the like grid points, right? So that you can do, right? So each and every instance will have a different, each and every element of the same family will have a different sizes. So that is called instance property, right? So after you provide all the like all the parameters, you will be just going for the creating the family geometry, right? The 3D furniture family. And after that, you will be setting some fixed dimensions, where we like whichever portion will be fixed, you can actually lock it, right? So it's just like this. This is one way, like a furniture family has been created. This is one way. But if I talk about, there's various ways you will see that to create a furniture family, there are various ways. There is no hard and fast rule like which workflow is actually better. But to start with a family, it is preferable go with the first planning with reference planes. Just plan out with the reference plane so that you can get the plan view, elevation, and section. And then provide dimensions and their parameters. So that once you create the geometry, your 3D model of the furniture family will be intact with your reference plane. So when you change the parameters, once you change the parameters, your reference plane should move according to that, right? and then you can actually add like materials to it, right? And if you provide workstation with wooden materials, or right, so you can actually provide material parameters so that in project you can change the materials anytime, right? So like, yeah, so this is a one way of creating furniture family. So this is the result of that furniture family. So if I show you like how they have how we have actually created this. So if, right now this is the furniture interface only. So if I want to change its materials, so let's say backboard should be walnut. So I can anytime change it, right, like this. So same material I'll give over here, right? If I don't want the, like, let's say uh, both the tables, right, both the partitions. So I don't want side partition, right, like this. I don't want the glass second partition, right? I don't need glass at all, right? So you can actually change whether in one workstation what do you want actually. See? And if you don't want the second desk, right, like this. Let me check. Yeah, and we have side partition over here. Right, so you can actually change the same type of workstation into many, like many permutations and combinations, same type of furniture, right? So yes, this is how you create any simple furniture family. Now if I talk about in like actual life demo, so let me go to that furniture, like go to that furniture template. So what we are doing, we are starting with the reference planes first. So if I'm talking about the bookshelf, or like the combination of maybe the bookshelf plus study table. So first of all, I have to plan out over here. So let's go with the width, right? First, let's plan out the plan, like plan of the furniture. So I'll go for the reference planes. And this portion will be of your bookshelf, and this will be of study table. So if I want to create a combination, so again I can provide the reference planes, so you can see it is becoming a plan, right? So I can provide dimensions as well as I can go for the like parameter creation. So I'll create a parameter that is length, and this will be your total, and this will be the half of that width. So this will be your shelf. Like the study table will have certain shelves, right? So we can go for shelf width. Right. So you can provide formulas as well so that automatically can change. So right now, if I change, so it is moving only one portion, like only in one direction. I want in both the directions. So what I can do, I can just provide the equality constraint. Right. So if I go for like, I can provide formulas as well so that when I change the width, it will be the shelf width should be half of that, right? So yeah, you can see over here. Yeah, right this. So this is how you can actually create the furniture family like basic, right? So it's preferable to start with the reference planes, then provide dimensions and then go for parameters, right? So now if you have any questions we can discuss, right? So let's have a Q&A session. Yes. Any questions? You may now provide it in the Q&A chat box. Okay, so there's question like if you want to change its parameters, so you can go to the modify tab, property panel. We have this family type. So whatever family furnitures like whatever parameters you see over here, you can change it over here in this section, right? So any other questions you have, kindly ask it in Q&A chat box. So, uh, okay, so there's a question called like, what is reporting parameter? So, a parameter, like by default, there are various parameters like built-in parameters, which is already developed by Revit. Okay, so reporting parameters are those parameters which we cannot change, but we need in certain kind of formulas. Let's say if I talk about column height, right? So already in Revit, it is mentioned that column should go from level 1 to level 2. By default, its height will be calculated. We don't know. So we need that column height in a certain formula. So that is called reporting parameter, right? Mm. Any other questions you have? We can have like we are having a quick Q&A session, so you can provide that question in chat box. Okay, so I think that is for today, right? So thank you everyone for joining the session. Uh, right. And if you have more questions, you can anytime uh, email us at the connect@captico.com. We provide different courses. So one course is actually design, like BIM for design course, in which we discuss everything. So families, we'll discuss in detail in that course. So you can enroll it to in if you want to know more about families, furniture families, door window families. So you can just enroll in our BIM for Design course. In that, we will be discussing every like possibilities of furniture families, as well as we'll discuss basic, like different aspects of BIM, right? So yes, I think that's in for today. Thank you everyone for joining.